bitches? Welcome to episode 11 of I Am Kenny Biddle. And if you've watched the last 10 episodes, plus the PSAs, plus the little rants that I've put out before, you should know by now that I am Kenny Biddle. What are we going to talk about today? There's so many topics. How can I choose just one to talk about? But I'll do it. Let's see. A while back, I did an episode that dealt with terminology. Okay, it was the terms investigation versus the term stakeout. Okay, and the differences I saw there and why I thought the paranormal community was using the term investigation wrong. And that they really should be using the term stakeout. So, along those lines, I'm still talking with my hands, if you haven't noticed, I'd like to go into two other terms. And one is the main issue that I have with, and that's the term evidence. The other term will be findings. Okay, so let's define what these two terms are. Okay, so evidence is defined as the following: a body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. Which basically means, hey, I got a bunch of facts here that have been verified and validated, and they say that this is true. There you go. That's evidence. Now, on the flip side of that coin is the term findings. Findings is defined as something that is found during an investigation or interview. Okay, so it's not saying it's facts. It's not saying it's evidence, which is a body of facts. And while we're at it, what the fuck are facts? Facts are something, it's defined as things we know to be true. Okay, so facts are things that we know to be true that make up evidence that say, hey, this idea is true. Okay, have we got that out of the way now? I'm done defining stuff. All right, let's move on. Why I have this problem with these terms. Okay, now basically it really comes down to what's being presented. Okay, you have teams out there and groups and individuals that are, certified people, bullshit, that are presenting photographs and audio recordings, video recordings, EMF spikes, infrared images, what else? Ultrasonic, infrared, ultraviolet, full spectrum, fucktardery, all over the place. And what they're doing is they're going to clients. Okay, clients or visitors. Clients could be homeowners, business owners. It could be people they talk to online. Anybody that stops by their booth at the convention, because they're saying, hey, what do you got? And they're showing their evidence. Okay, so what you're doing is that these groups are presenting all of stuff, the pictures and the EVPs and their readings and all that shit, as evidence. Which, as we've already defined, evidence is a body of facts. Now, I have a problem with this because let me ask you this question. Is what you're presenting actually evidence, according to that definition? Let's take a look at some things. Alright, let's look at what's being put out there. I mean, we have a shit ton of stuff. Like, you have your orbs, fucking orbs. You have your ecto, you have your light streaks, your shadow people, your demons, your angels, your light people, your rainbow people. You have scratchy noises that are on audio recordings. You have whispers. You have just noises that nobody can figure out what it is, but they claim is an EVP. You have videos of shadows and lights darting across the screen all over the place. You have readings. EMF meters blinking and all kinds of lights on the K2 and fucking flashlights that blink on and off because the fucktards have no idea what they're doing. But this is all being presented as evidence. So let me ask you questions. Now, we've gone over a lot of this stuff before, but, how are you validating this stuff? Because it's evidence. Evidence are supposed to be facts to prove your case. Okay, so how are you validating this to present to people? Are you getting third-party experts to weigh in on it? Are you testing it? Are you running experiments? Actual experiments where you're controlling all the variables. where you can go through the test and say, hey, you know what? We came to this conclusion, this outcome again and again and again. We know what we're doing. Have you covered every angle that you could possibly think of that would explain what this stuff is, what your findings are? And don't say yes just to say yes and shut me the fuck up, because a lot of people do that. Oh yeah, we've done that, we've tested it, we know our cameras and stuff. And then you ask them a couple questions and you find out they have no fucking clue. But these are basic questions. Do you actually know what you're presenting as evidence? And if you don't know what it is, why are you presenting it as evidence? Verification is really important. Like, because one of the big problems is that when you go out and you're with a ghost group and they collect all their what they consider evidence from the ghost hunt, and then they come home, they review it, and then they put it out there. Okay, they're doing all the stuff they're themselves. So to me, there's a bias there, because most of them are going out looking for ghosts. So if you're going to go out looking for it, you're fucking going to find it. Okay, we all know that. So I guess what comes up is, are you having third-party experts verifying what you're presenting? Okay, and when I talk about third-party experts, I don't mean other ghost hunters or famous ghost hunters like paracelebs and shit like that, or you go to a conference and they have a booth there, so they have a professional sign, so they must be professional ghost hunters. No, that's not what I'm fucking talking about. I'm talking about go to like photographers and psychologists and biologists and all these fucking experts that are outside of our field, which means no one in the community, the paranormal community. You go outside of it, and especially not people associated with your team. Okay, so if you have, this is something I run into a lot, where a group says, well, you know what, we have these pictures, but we have a photographer on our team, and they verified, I can't even talk, they verified that these photos are authentic and they're genuine. Okay, and then later on we find out that they're fucking phone apps. Okay, so you can't have your expert on your team already, because that shows a little bit biased, because they're already on your there's a conflict of interest there. Okay, you need to go outside of your team, find somebody else that's not associated with you, that won't kiss your ass, and say, hey, we need a real opinion on this. Could you please help us out? And that'll be great. Now, on the flip side of those third-party experts, we have the people that are not experts, okay? And they include other ghost hunters, psychics, paracelebs, para-radio hosts, certified fucking ghost hunter bullshitters, your friends, your family, your mommy, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your kids, or anyone else that comes up to you with a picture on their fucking phone and says, hey, look, I got a ghost. I swear it's true. These people are not experts unless they actually have some kind of training or experience in the specific field that you need expertise in. Okay? So if daddy is a psychologist, you can ask him about questions from there. Okay? If mommy is a photographer, you can go, hey, mom, can you take a look at this? And kind of get an opinion. But because they're still family or friends, they're still a little biased, and there's still a little conflict there because, mommy and daddy don't want to disappoint their little child. Anyway, moving on. Alright, this is something else that bothers me, really bothers me about this stuff, is that usually if I'm walking around a conference, okay, and I'm talking to people in different groups and looking at their stuff on their tables, and, some of their t-shirts are kind of cool as long as they're not black, because they're all fucking black. What the hell? Get other colors for your t-shirts. Sorry. But anyway, I look at the evidence, and I ask them, hey, what is this? What is this supposed to be? Because most times when I'm asking that, I know what it is, especially with photographs. I'll know what it is. I know what caused it. But I'm asking them, what is this? And I'm really surprised when they say, I don't know. Or, I get the response as, we're not sure what it is. It's an unknown anomaly, and we couldn't explain it. There's also like a Charlie Sheen winning phrase, which is, we're not sure what it is, but it's completely unexplainable. there's no way to explain this thing. And I'll get to that topic, the unexplainable, in a minute. But I mean, think about those statements. Think about when someone says, we're not sure what it is. It's unknown anomaly. We couldn't explain it. We're not sure. We have no idea what it is. Think about those statements. And what we're talking about here. We're talking about presenting evidence. Okay? And again, I'm going to say it again. Facts. A body of facts, which is what evidence is. You're presenting evidence to people. So, I guess my really frustrating question is going to come out here and say, if you don't know what it is, how the fuck do you present it as evidence? How do you do that? You're fucking lying to people right to their face because you have no idea what it is. Yet, you're presenting it as evidence. This is evidence of strange things or the paranormal or ghosts. We think this, we think that. That's how I see it. I mean, I might be going a little extreme here, and grouping a lot together. There are some that are just mistaken. People don't realize what it is, and they're not sure. And there are some groups, like my buddy Chuck, who runs one of the groups that in the local area. I know he has a little section of completely unknown. He has no idea what it is, and he claims that. He says, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's paranormal. I'm just saying I don't know what it is. And he looks for explanations, which is good. It's the way it's supposed to be. But more often than not, I'm seeing binders, like photo albums, just present it, and videos present it as, hey, this is evidence of spooky shit that's going on here. But we don't know what it is. If you don't, honestly, the bottom line for that is, if you don't know what it is, you can't present it as evidence. It's ridiculous. It's silly. That's what it comes down to. Okay, when you present something unknown as evidence, you're automatically doing two things. One, you're implying that it's paranormal. Yes, you are. You can argue with this recording all you want. Doesn't matter, because you're still implying that it's paranormal. Why? Well, for starters, after a ghost hunt, you're presenting it to the client, which is the homeowner or the business owner, whoever. Someone's there listening to you, and they're soaking this all up. Because you're telling them, hey, we got this during our little investigation the other night. We don't know what it is, but it's pretty strange. We've never seen it before. We can't explain it, so, there you go. That's just evidence of something. And what happens now is that because you don't know what it is, and you didn't go to outside sources to help figure out what it is, it goes to the client. They believe it because, they're seeing you as an authority figure, which, honestly, you're not. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean there, but I mean, you gotta come to grips here. You're not an authority figure on this, but they see you as that, so they're gonna take your word for it and say, oh, shit, this fucking place is haunted. Holy shit! It's got this weird light thing. It's got this smoky thing. I see a shadow person, walking around in the hallway or whatever shit like that. And now they're gonna pass on the stories. If they're a business, shit, they're going to profit off it because they're going to start saying it's haunted. Come out here for a ghost hunting weekend. If it's a homeowner, you could cause all kinds of other trouble. I'm not even going to get into that because that's an entire video series on its own. How much fucking psychological damage you can do. But also, let's get back to your implying. When you're implying it, because not only do you present stuff to the client, you're also posting stuff on your website. You're also posting stuff on your Facebook page. So that you can have them killer drama-filled fucking debates on your Facebook page because, everybody loves them. It gets you all them likes that everybody wants. Which basically says, hey, I'm posting this picture up. And you know what? Most of you put them up there. Not most of the people that are watching this video, people that should be watching this video, you post your pictures up and you make some kind of side remark about skeptics. They're going to have their 2 cents, or they're going to get their shots in, or I know they're going to doubt it and give me all kinds of shit for this, but I'm going to post it anyway. Even that statement alone, and we've seen them all over the place. That kind of statement. You're implying that it's paranormal. All right, so don't try and get around it. You're putting it up there. Okay, that goes into the part of the peer review process, but that's another video that I had planned. Anyway, The second thing that you're doing is what I said before in the last segment, that you're downright bullshitting people. You're lying right to their face, because if you don't know what it is, then it simply does not fit into the definition of evidence, which is, again, a body of facts. Facts are something that's known to be true. We go down the line, we find out that if you don't know what it is, then it's not evidence. Okay? So stop presenting it. And that just falls into what we said previously. If when you're implying it's paranormal, you're going to cause a lot of fear with people. You're going to fuck people's lives up, because now they think, especially if they got phobias or they're fantasy prone and they're scared shitless anyway. Now they think their house is haunted. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to try and move. They're going to sell the house. They're going to interrupt their lives. They're not going to sleep at night. They're going to be fearful all night long. It's going to cause all kinds of shit because of what you said. And basically, you don't have to say much except, I don't know what this is, but it's kind of weird. Alright? That fucks people up. I mean, think about it. I mean, we've already talked about orbs, and how most of the time it's dust particles or bugs and shit like that. What if you're getting video of this shit, and it is just dust particle, and it is just bugs, because of the overwhelming evidence, real evidence, that these orbs are made of natural anomalies, such as dust and bugs. But you're telling a client, hey, you know what? Your house is haunted. Look at all the spirits here. There's like 5,000 just in your basement. Holy shit. You're causing unnecessary fear. And it's got to stop. It really got to stop, because you're fucking people's lives up. If anything, you know what? If you have findings that you want to put out there, then put it into a folder or a section of your website or something like that, and say, hey, we have no idea what this is. Please give us explanations. And when they give you explanations, when people like me come along and say, here, I know what this photograph is of, here's an explanation, accept it. You don't have to accept it completely, but think about it, okay? Look at it, think about it, say, hey, you know what? This does make sense, this doesn't make sense, ask more questions, talk about it. Don't get pissed off. All right? What else? And stuff that you don't know. When you have no idea what it is, honestly, you should not present it to the client. You shouldn't say, here, we got this. Just keep it aside until you can explain it. Until you can figure out what the fuck it was. Or if you got it over and over again, and send it out to somebody else and say, hey, take a look at this. Just don't present unknown shit to somebody that knows no better, which is a client that's looking to you for help. I can't make it any clearer than that. Another pet peeve of mine is that when I hear a ghost hunter present, a photo or an audio clip or a video clip, and they describe it as unexplainable. The problem that I have here is that they're using that term, unexplainable, they're using it interchangeably with the word unexplained. Okay? There's a big difference, and I don't think they realize it. See, unexplained means that you haven't found an explanation for it. You don't know what it is. When you say it's unexplainable, that means you will never, ever find an explanation for it. Ever. That's what unexplainable means. So when I hear ghost hunters, presenting to a whole group of people, or like in a lecture, or out on the street, some of the ghost tours in Gettysburg and shit like that, when they're saying, yeah, this is completely unexplainable, it makes me want to punch you in the fucking throat, because it's just wrong. Especially when I look at the evidence, and I know, like that, I know what it is, and I can explain it to you. In great detail, I can explain it to you. And I see this a lot, and I'm sure you guys have seen this a lot, on Facebook. People post their fucking photos, and they're like, oh, this is completely unexplainable, this shadow person. We don't know what it is, and no one will ever explain it. And then you have, 200 of people like me that come on and say, hey, tap, 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 this is what it is, and leave long explanations, which are almost immediately deleted, and then you get blocked. What the fuck is that? The bottom line here is just like what the last couple segments have been, okay? If you don't know what it is, then it doesn't fit into the definition of evidence. If you label it unexplained or unexplainable, which you're still using it wrong, then that still means you don't know what it is. So it's not evidence. Don't present it, assholes. Now, in the beginning of this, I talked about how I'm trying to compare, the two terms of evidence and findings. And honestly, I think the word findings is a much better description of what these ghost hunting groups are getting, or paranormal groups in general. It's their findings. They go out and they do their stakeouts and their ghost hunts and their investigations, and they find stuff, and they bring it back. They look through, hours of video and listen to hours of audio, and you find stuff. Okay, it's not necessarily evidence because it's not facts yet. You don't know what it is. Or even if you think you know what it is, you're not sure. You can't be 100%. So there you go. It's findings. And I mean, basically, when you bring all that stuff back, all this we'll call it data, okay? What you really have when you step back and look at it, you have a lot of untested, unverified, unknown, unexplained, and implied findings. That's what you have, and most groups, unfortunately, are presenting that as evidence. If you find it during an investigation, you should label it as such. I mean, it would be much better if I saw, and not that I'm an authority on anything, but I think it's a much better definition or description of what you're presenting. You're presenting findings. It's what you found. I mean, that's pretty much it. Alright, I think this is the last point I'm going to make, because this is probably getting to be a long video, okay? And I guess, alright, let's end it like this. Unless you can back up each piece of what you claim to be evidence 100%, you shouldn't be presenting it as evidence. If you're not sure, 100% of what it is, then you shouldn't be presenting it. Honestly, the way the paranormal community determines what is evidence, it's a fucking joke. Seriously. I mean, you guys, and I know this sounds mean, and it sounds like I'm being, that bully shit, but I'm venting my frustrations here, because what happens is that you guys go out, you schedule your ghost hunt, or your stakeout, you go out, you use your equipment, you go out, you collect all the data, the findings, you collect everything, the pictures, the videos, the audios, the readings, whatever, you bring it home, you review it, you determine what's evidence, and then you present it. And that's usually the way it works. That is the norm. There's no third-party involvement at all. So what the hell? I mean, that's ridiculous. When you break it down, you're pretty much taking a lot of inexperienced, biased opinions as professional opinions. That's what's happening. I mean, if you're not a photographer, but you're going out, you're taking pictures, then you're looking at them, on your laptop or your computer at home, and you're determining that, hey, yeah, this is definitely paranormal, but you're not a photographer and really don't have any experience except going, click, then you're fooling people. You're saying that I have a professional opinion and that this picture is real when you have no professional opinion. You have an inexperienced, biased opinion because you want it to be something. I mean, it gets to a point where words such as probably and might, maybe, could be, perhaps, these all suddenly and magically make your inexperienced opinions, it turns them into facts. And those facts are presented as evidence to people that know no better, that are completely ignorant of what's real and what's not. Oy. Alright, I guess to sum it up, you guys just, I think you guys are using the terms wrong. Okay? You're presenting stuff as evidence, which, as we've said throughout this entire video, is supposed to be a body of facts. Facts are supposed to be things that that are known to be true. And if you're not following that process, that line there, that goes from things we know are true to a group of things we know are true that proves this thing is true, if you're not following that line of thinking, then you're not presenting evidence. What you're really doing is just presenting findings. It's stuff that you found during your ghost hunt. If you want to start going in the right direction, start using the right terms. Don't present something if you don't know what it is, because now you're making people think that it's paranormal. You're implying that it's paranormal, even though you think you're not. You really are, and that's how everybody else is viewing it. And start thinking. I mean, that's all I can do is try to help you see things in a different way of thinking, maybe than you're used to, and start thinking more on your own. Wow, that sounded conceited, didn't it? I didn't mean that. I mean, what do I mean? I mean, start thinking. That's basically what it is. Stop believing so much and start thinking. That's it. Ask questions. Question everything, including your own shit. Alright. I think I'm done. Let's see. Let's close this out. If you have any comments, you can leave them down in the lines below here. But then again, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm probably not going to get to it because I really never look at the comments on there. I mean, I try to, but I always forget. If you want to get in contact with me, you can always look me up on Facebook / I am Kenny Biddle. And if you have any complaints, insults, threats of violence, and you want to beat the shit out of me or something like that, please contact Lou Castillo in California. He is my go-to guy. He is Mexican, and he carries a knife everywhere he goes. Everywhere. And they're like little ones. I don't know where he hides them all. But that's it. I think I'm done. And